A note to my younger self. Dear younger self, in 8th grade English, the girl sitting to your left will lean close and whisper, "I could have you killed." Although her words will leave you hollowed paper bag thin, you will smile because, well, someone's finally noticed you. Growing up, making friends will be as easy as grabbing a greased-up watermelon in a swimming pool. You will spend the span of relationships hunched in the exits terrified. People will leave and then watch as, one by one, they all do. Your best friends will be the 4 walls of your bedrooms, the pages of books, and the inside of your own head, though that last one will actually try and kill you. Don't worry, you will be just as bad at suicide as you are at talking to people. Anxiety, the doormat you trip over in the entryway of every conversation where eye contact slides across your body like paper cuts. And figuring out facial expressions harder than the differential calculus you are going to love because unlike with people, at least with algebra, you can calculate out all those y's. Most days, life will feel like a movie where the soundtrack is out of sync, that your brain is an operating system coded in a dead language, that God didn't just break the mold after he made you that damn thing. It was broken to begin with. One day, you will stare at yourself in a shattered mirror and think, finally, my reflection does show who I am on the inside. When your son is 3, you'll be given a list of all the reasons why he's been diagnosed as autistic, and in that moment you will feel like you are reading your own biography. The idea that your difficult path has been woven into your child's DNA will deadweight your heart through the floor until you look at him. Light of your life. Piece of your heart beating outside of your body, and you will know that someone that incredible could never be seen as damaged. Younger self, all the time you spent as a stone rolled by waves against a rocky shore did not wear you down into nothing. No, it shaped you into his mother. When others say, "I don't understand him, he's such a puzzle piece," you can say, "Son, me too, and look, we fit together perfectly." Because you know how ordinary days can feel more chaotic than the climax of a Michael Bay film, how even the slightest transition can be just as jarring as a blizzard in the heat of July, how facing change can feel like you're stepping into a gaping jaw full of sharp teeth, praying it won't shut. But no matter what, when things get hard, you will hold him. You will rock him back and forth with the comfort of expectations and schedules and patterns and rhythm and music and words and love and love and love and love and love. Despite all the knots, anxieties tied into your tongue, when it comes to your son, you will discover your voice could be a jet engine at takeoff, because the world needs to know. Normal, just as setting on a washing machine. Perfection is not an equation for happiness, and no matter what anyone says, just because you are different, it does not mean you are broken. Younger self, I know you'll feel like you're a player in this game. No one explains all these rules you keep breaking, but do not quit. I promise you. I promise you. Everything will be worth it. There is an amazing young man in your future, and he can't wait to meet you. Toronto Airport Vineyard Church Revival. The air vibrates, a fluorescent hum, hallelujah, I sway, my arms birch trees aside, my head, palms up, fingers splayed, joining the canopy, seeking heaven. This time, I am ready. The preacher shuffles closer. This conduit in a cream-colored suit, this receiver of God's landline, I want to tangle myself in the copper wires of his veins until I am electrified, dissolved into photons dancing in the light of this sanctuary. A woman cries out, her mouth a blender of phonetics, the rose of faithful surge, an ocean pulled by her tide. 2 chairs down, a man lulls his head, a thumbprint red and angry pressed between his eyes, rolling to their whites, and the cream-suited preacher draws near. His red tie lies askew, Over his rounded belly it rises and falls with each breath like the tongue of a panting dog, but I shouldn't see him this way, so I close my eyes. Let the reverberation of an unknown hymn growl my gut. I'm shifting contents, settling a hollow, unfolding in my breast. The woman to the left of me falls to her knees, and I tell myself this time I'm worthy. He approaches, right arm elbow tucked to his side, hand facing forward. Is he taking an oath or preparing to defend? I can't quite tell. I'm too distracted by a bead of sweat trailing down his palm, disappearing up his sleeve. He lifts his left hand, thick thumb extended, leading the rest to land on my forehead, and I am a field, furrowed and seated, awaiting rain. I am a pile of dry kindling, starving for a lick of flame. I am a river dammed, throwing myself against stone that will not crack. I am still standing. The preacher shifts, grips my shoulders with both hands as if steering a bicycle to crash, but there is no spark of the holy in his touch, no internal surrender dead weighting me to the floor, no stirring of my tongue to flutter unknown. No, he's just a man, an external force trying to crush me to obedience. I straighten, and he lets go. The woman beside me collapses at his touch. There is a sickening crack. As her head smacks the edge of her chair, she crumples into a pile of clothes on the concrete. I look to the man in the cream-colored suit for help, but he has already moved on. Clockwork. I am not a people person, and by that I mean I drown in shallow waters. Sweep me out to sea. Let me feel the weight of your soul, my fingertips, to be more than just a thought in the mind of the universe observing itself. This clockwork, this collection of dials and gears I disassemble over and over, but my pieces only ever fit back together the same way. Lend me your eyes, for I am knowledge blind and wonder starved, craving a foreign rhythm in my chest to stand under a starlit sky, constellations unknown, to slip into your skin, feel a summer's rain on arms that he has never held. Please, please, let me in. Sandbanks. This lake feels too much like home. A gradient decline of sun-warmed wade to toe-touch sandbanks to marinade of water tread like a tongue perch on the edge of an unforgiving swallow, down a hollow throat in me, delicacy, see the world waters for a taste. Why am all leg kick and open-armed for my digestion, half sink, half swim, all heart of hearth and home-cooked meal, but the water hinds. The water knows. Still, I slip under. There is no other place like home. Symphony. I entered into this world a gradual becoming. Or no, actually, I left this world in a multitude of erosions down to elemental existence, a solo, then chamber, then chorus, now symphony, this crescendo to a temporary eye before fade, of decomposition, scattering of notes without rhythm, or is it rhythm without tone, all eighths and quarters and rests, all echo, then hum, then vibration. Then I entered into this world, a gradual becoming, a multitude of erosions, a melody no one knows, but we all seem to play. Landfall. Before I met him, I never understood how cold could burn, or how silence could incite madness before the distance in between his words grew. Ever since we came into each other's lives, we were always counting down the days until we'd see each other again, then the hours we'd spend together glancing at our cell phones, watching seconds pass until we'd have to part, then the countdown would restart. The separation burdened. I could hear the strain in his voice. It cracked when he insisted I had meant something to him. He paused, corrected the past to a present tense, but the heart-bruised realization never left. He had his own countdown, an expiration date he stamped on the two of us before he even told me that he loved me. Love isn't blind, no. Love sees it all, and it makes excuses. So when he went cold and silent, when he blanked himself like a fresh piece of paper, I raked the fine-tooth comb over me to find out why, till I was fetal folded on the floor, wondering how I'd never admitted to myself that the picture of me he'd sketched on his heart was only a portrait of what I would do for him. Houses built on sand, they do collapse, but this wasn't just an end. This was the waves of a storm-tossed sea salt licking my shores bare to the bedrock. This was me kneeling at the water's edge, begging for a glimpse of what we had to return to landfall at my feet so I could rebuild, but love is never found where it was lost. The pieces of my broken heart were in a puzzle to be solved. When I stitched them back together, there was no answer waiting, just scars and a new countdown. Seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months it would take to heal. No more sand. I was done piling it up to cover my flaws. My rock bottom wasn't pretty, but it was honest and a solid foundation on which to build. I sharpened pencils, graphite gliding over tendon. I drew steel strength and raw beauty on my own heart, so I would carry it with me always. Then I raised my voice. I learned to shout above the roar of the storm so silence would never find its home on my doorstep again, and then I lit my flame. I let it blaze even in my darkest corners without apology. I shone brighter than ever before. No longer seeking warmth, I became the source, a ring of fire that cold dare not cross, and now I am the one who burns.